best part of my 4 years at Penn and Wharton has certainly been the people.
Hey everyone, I just want to say how grateful I am for my time at this school. For all the ups and all the downs, I've learned so much. I can't wait to see all the amazing things that our class will accomplish.
I wish you all the best in your future endeavors, and I can't wait to see all that we accomplish.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Erica James, Dean of the Wharton School. Today, I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming the families, partners, friends, faculty, staff, and alumni around the globe who have gathered to celebrate our honored guests, the Wharton class of 2021. I'm delighted you have joined this year's graduation ceremony, which we've titled One Wharton. We've asked several members of our Wharton community and network to join us for this event with a singular purpose: to celebrate our amazing graduates and all you have accomplished during their time with us. The event promises to be uplifting, exciting, and, like our class of 21, truly one of a kind. As a professor and dean, there are two things that are fundamental to my work: writing and talking. Professors do research and then write about our findings in academic journals, which mercifully none of you will likely ever have to read. We write about them in books and case studies, which by now you are all probably sick of reading. Then we talk about our research in classes that we teach, with companies we consult, in the media, and just about any place else where we can find someone to listen. In my 25 years of writing and talking, I have rarely been at a loss for words. But today is one of those rare occasions. What do I say to a class of students whom I have never had the privilege to meet in person? How do I thoughtfully acknowledge the disruption seen during your time at Wharton, while still conveying my belief that the benefits of your degree and experience will continue to accrue for you long after you graduate? I'm not wholly sure how to answer these questions, which is why finding adequate words feels so difficult. So let me start with what I do know. I know that the one thing any of us have control over in our lives is ourselves. We control our thoughts, our actions, and our interactions. We have authority over the things that we take into our thoughts and make the basis for our actions. And we have the responsibility of knowing the things we take in ultimately influence our outcomes. Several years ago, my husband told me I was an insecure risk taker. On the surface, that may seem like an oxymoron, but what he was observing was that in certain situations, I appeared to lack confidence that certain things I was pursuing would actually work out. He noted that I didn't think I would get accepted to a PhD program, which I did. He reminded me that I wasn't certain I would even earn tenure, which I did. He even recalled that I hadn't considered becoming a dean until close colleagues suggested I pursue it nearly a decade ago. And here I am today. What my husband was saying was that during key times when I considered something impossible, or at least I told myself the outcomes would likely not go my way, I still chose to take the risk. Despite all the odds that cite low acceptance rates and virtually no pathways for women of color to become Ivy League deans, I still went after these things and achieved them. This is not a declaration of my strength, but rather a recognition of a shared fact. At some point in life, we all doubt ourselves. But we also all have control over how we respond to such doubt. So the question is, what will you choose? How will you decide when to take such personal and professional risks? I try to focus on trust. When it comes to making choices, I have learned how important it is to trust myself and those within my inner circle. And for me, there are 3 trust questions I ask before taking a risk. First, do I trust my own competence? In other words, do I believe I have the skills, the knowledge, and experience to do something well? If the answer is no, then am I willing to seek the support I need to succeed? If the answer is still no, I have to seriously question whether this is the right move for me. But if the answer to either of these questions is yes, then I feel much more confident in my choice. Second, am I willing to communicate what I want? If no one knows what I'm striving for, how will I attract the people and the resources who will be instrumental in helping me reach my aspirations? And yet communication, like trust, is a two-way street. We need people to be honest in their communications with us, and we need to be open to hearing it. Third, do I have a track record of being able to deliver? Trust involves an informal contract we make with ourselves and with others. So I have to determine if I have a history of following through on my commitments in this area. Or put more directly, is there proof that I have done what I said I would do? And if my track record affirms these things, then it's a powerful indicator to me that the risk is worth it. Today, as you become alumni of the Wharton School, you join 100,000 Wharton graduates who have attained this milestone, plus hundreds of faculty, staff, and supporters, all confident in your ability to thrive. Though I may not have gotten to meet many of you in person, the class of 2021 will always be special to me. Not only because you are the first graduating class under my term as dean, but because you navigated the choppy waters of this past year with grace, stamina, and ingenuity. So today, in the spirit of taking in only what can sustain you, let me offer you this. Trust yourself. Trust that you are prepared with the competence you need to be a force for good in the world. Trust that the ideas you put out into the world will attract the people you need to truly thrive. And finally, trust that your accomplishments are an affirmation of a bright future ahead. Let me conclude by saying, congratulations, graduates. On behalf of the entire Wharton School, we are so proud of what you have achieved and can't wait to see how you make your mark on the world. I'm not the only one who wants to celebrate and congratulate our graduates today. As you know, we have an amazing slate of people lined up to be with us for this event, including your program deans who wish wholeheartedly they could be with you in person to celebrate this important occasion, but would not miss the chance to honor you and all you've accomplished during your time at Wharton, even if from a distance. So let me begin by welcoming Nancy Zhang, Vice Dean of Wharton's Doctoral Program, and Ji Li and Ning Zhao, Professor of Statistics, to speak with you today. Nancy?
Thank you, Dean James, for the introduction, and I am delighted to take this opportunity to introduce and congratulate our doctoral class of 2021. Getting a PhD is an immense achievement, an accumulation of many years of hard work through which these students became experts in their chosen field of research. Even though we cannot gather, I hope that this is a moment when, together with friends and family, we can all reflect and celebrate the accomplishments of these graduates. In March 2020, a year ago, when the pandemic hit and our campus shut down, it was very hard for us to imagine how this year would unfold. As these doctoral students were entering their final year, looking to go on to the job market and field interviews to land that dream job they have been preparing themselves for, they were hit with unrelenting uncertainty with what was certain to be a grim job market. I think it is fair to say that while this pandemic challenged all of our students, it was especially unnerving for our doctoral students looking to graduate. So, as much of our world came to a halt, these graduates whom we are celebrating today were working harder than ever. In the isolation of their apartments, they carried on with their research and the writing of their dissertations. Many of them lived alone, away from the comfort of family. Some had to go through extraordinary measures to complete their work remotely. Yet, as the months passed, one by one, they defended their work to their dissertation committees through Zoom. Today, I cannot be more proud to tell you that we will have 25 newly minted doctors. They come from our 9 programs of study: accounting, applied economics, healthcare and economics, finance, legal studies and business ethics, management, marketing, operations, informations and decisions, and statistics. I am also delighted to tell you that many of our graduates will be starting in tenure-track assistant professorships or postdoctoral positions at the top research institutions in their fields, such as Dartmouth, Princeton, UC Berkeley, Yale, and many others. And some will take on leading positions in corporate research at nonprofits and within our government. Given the tough prospects that they faced at this time last year, I cannot be happier at this outcome. So now I hope that they will look back at all their experiences at Wharton and especially draw on that resilience that saw them through this final year to find new success in this next phase of their careers. I am sure we will continue to hear from and about them as they look to contribute to the leading edge of their disciplines. I give my very best wishes to all of this year's graduates.
Thank you, Nancy, for those thoughtful remarks. Let me join you in congratulating our doctoral students as they conclude their studies and wish them success going forward. Next, I'd like to welcome Peggy Bishop-Lane, Vice Dean for Wharton's MBA program for executives, and adjunct professor in accounting. Peggy?
Thank you, Dean James, and a warm welcome to the graduates of the MBA program for executives class of 2021, their families, co-workers, and friends joining us today. While all students are successful in large part because of a support network, this is especially true in the WEMBA program. Navigating families and prominent careers, all while completing a Wharton MBA, requires not just personal fortitude, but the backing of partners, spouses, children, supervisors, and coworkers. Congratulations to all of you on the completion of this journey. Dean James asked me to talk about what exemplifies a WEMBA 45 graduate. WEMBA 45 is how we affectionately refer to the class of 2021, as they are our 45th graduating class. I've never had an easier time writing a speech. First, they are adaptable. Last spring, they handled the quick transition to online learning like pros, not only succeeding themselves, but supporting and helping their faculty in the process. They also became teachers overnight, not at Wharton, but of their children. So many of our students have little ones, or bigger ones, who were suddenly schooling at home, and it was mommy or daddy helping teach while they were also students themselves. At the same time, many became caretakers, whether it was a family member who had become ill or overwhelmed at home, or a parent or neighbor they suddenly needed to care for. They did that on top of everything. Through all of this, they persevered. Faced with the end of spring being virtual, then all of summer, then all of fall, and then much of this spring also being virtual, they continued on despite frustrations or considering a leave from the program. But leaves were in the single digits last summer and never amounted to much more than a dozen people. Faced with difficult job and childcare environments, some enlisted family help, got even more help from already overwhelmed partners, or some went to hotels. Already tired of dozens of Zoom calls per week, they did more Zoom calls for class, career sessions, speakers, and optional global virtual courses. Finally, this is one resourceful group. They found ways to get together. They created online groups, organized power weekends in different cities, and capitalized on the hybrid weekends in Philadelphia. They organized themselves, creating teams focused on specific ideas and events that they wanted more of, and engaged with the school to make this possible over the coming years. When you think about key characteristics inherent in a strong leader, wouldn't adaptability, perseverance, and resourcefulness be a big part of what you were looking for? This is a class we will not soon forget, full of firsts, full of passion, and forever Wharton. Congratulations, WEMBA 45. You have literally accomplished what no other class before you has.
Thank you, Peggy, and congrats to both our East and West Coast MBA for Executive graduates. I look forward to hearing your continued success well into the future. Now I'd like to shift gears a bit and introduce the first of what will be 4 keynote conversations today. One element we looked to deliver through our One Wharton graduation was a chance for attendees to hear from leading executives across the industries who are also Wharton or Penn graduates. We were thrilled when all of our desired speakers accepted our invitation, which underscores the ever-present power of this amazing alumni network. We also want to recognize that the continued impact of the pandemic hampered many of our traditional event and networking opportunities. We hoped to create an opportunity for this year's graduates to get up close and personal with these industry leaders, or as much as one can do so while still honoring social distancing guidelines and protocols. So today, our speakers will be interviewed by a graduating Wharton student. Student interviewers were chosen by the program offices and have the honor of connecting with our distinguished alums as representatives of their classes. Our first conversation will be between Sundar Pichai, 2002 Wharton MBA graduate and Chief Executive Officer of Alphabet and Google, and Mercedee Hutton, 2021 Wharton MBA graduate. Sundar has served as CEO of Google since 2015, was named to Alphabet's board of directors in 2017, and then took over as CEO of both companies in 2019. His career at Google began back in 2004, where he led the successful development and introduction of products like Google Toolbar and Chrome, eventually becoming the head of all Google products and platforms. His passion for technology began at an early age and continued through his education, where he earned a degree in engineering from the Indian Institute of Technology, followed by a master's in engineering from Stanford University, and finally his MBA from the Wharton School. During his leadership at Google, he's focused his efforts on building a more helpful Google for everyone. Mercedee Hutton is a graduating student from the Wharton MBA program for executives on our San Francisco campus, majoring in finance, data analytics, and management. Mercedee has spent the last 5 years at Dell Technology, most recently as Senior Manager of Corporate Social Responsibility, where she focuses on sustainability and IT product development. At Wharton, she served on the Student Advisory Council for the WIMBA program and holds a BA from the University of Texas at Dallas and an MA from Richmond, the American International University in London. Now please join me in welcoming Sundar and Mercedee.
Thank you, Dean James, for the kind introduction. And Sundar, thank you for joining us today to commemorate the class of 2021. We are incredibly honored.
Well, Mercedee, thank you for doing this, and I couldn't be more excited. Thank you all for having me.
So we'll start off with life at Wharton. It's been 19 years since you were sitting in our seat. Looking back, what got you here today, and what are the big ideas from your days at Wharton that have played a key role?
I've always been passionate about using technology to improve people's lives. Firsthand, growing up in India, I definitely had experience getting access to technology and seeing it change. So it's the journey I wanted to do. I think mainly being at Wharton, walking down Locust Walk, thinking back about it, it really expanded. I ran into people doing so many different things, passionate about different things. I think it gave me a window into the wider world beyond technology, which actually helped me because technology at the end of the day is an enabler. I think, broadened my perspective overall about pretty much everything in life.
We're both tech optimists. It's clear to us how technology can address some of the most pressing challenges we face as a society. So rather than ask you about what technology can solve, tell us about the boundary. What can technology not solve?
Oh, it's a great question. Technology is an enabler. It's a profound enabler. It can help solve problems. No better time to think about technology than how mRNA, new technological advance, helped give us vaccines at this critical time. So technology is a powerful enabler. It can give opportunities to people, but ultimately, I think it can't solve the deeper things that matters to humanities. For example, giving purpose to someone's life, or that deeper sense of satisfaction and happiness. So that is on us, I think, for humans to solve. So I think that's where the boundaries are.
Okay, so switching gears a little bit, I would like to talk about leadership authenticity. So Jamie Dimon nominated you to Time's 100 Most Influential People of 2020. And what really struck me in his description of your leadership is that you're analytical, you're humble, you're inclusive. In particular, there is that these traits are some that the world could use a lot more of. Tell me, how did you step into and grow your authentic leadership style, especially when looking around, it was and is so unique?
One of the things which I wish someone had told it to me earlier, there are many different ways to be a good leader, and I think too often it's more narrowly defined. And so you just have to find what works for you, and I think it's a process. And and the more authentic it is to you, I think others feel it too. So so it's for me, it was a journey in realizing that, and then just being true to yourself and learning and growing at being a leader.
Thank you. Okay, so I've got another question here that's being asked of every keynote speaker. A year from now, what do you believe will be the one thing that you carry forward from the past year, and why?
It's been a painful year in many ways, and but for me, when I look back, it was the perspective I got through a year last year was I cherished the simple things in life, more time with my family, the few chances I got to hang out with friends or going for a simple walk in nature. And so the thing I would take away the most is probably there's so much complexity in our lives, but when you peel it all, it's the simplicity, it's the simple things that matter. And so that's something hopefully I'll keep reminding myself of as we go ahead.
So do you, Sundar Pichai, solemnly affirm that your ultimate favorite graduating class of the Wharton School is this fearless, brilliant crowd of leaders assembled before you, the class of 2021?
Yes, just don't tell the class of 2022 or any other class.
That's awesome. Sundar, there's wild applause happening right now. We just can't hear it.
Thank you so much, Mercedee. I appreciate it.
On behalf of the class of 2021, it has been a pleasure. Thank you again, Sundar, for celebrating with us.
Thank you, Sundar, for your insights on technology, leadership, and the valuable lessons you learned during your time at Wharton. And thank you, Mercedee, for leading such a vibrant discussion. We'll get to the next of our keynote conversations shortly, but next, let me introduce Howie Caulfield, Vice Dean of our MBA program and Adjunct Professor of Finance at Wharton. Howie?
Thank you, Dean James. Greetings, members of the MBA class of 2021, partners, family members, and friends. And welcome to everyone who is graduating from Wharton today. MBA class of 2021, despite all the odds in this extraordinary time, you made it. In August 2019, when we gathered in Annenberg Theater for the first time as an entire class, little did we know what was in store and how you would be tested individually and challenged as a class. 7 months through a relatively normal first year, we were ambushed by the COVID pandemic. In a matter of days, we had to create a new way to deliver the MBA program. And you had to suddenly adapt to virtual classrooms, as well as isolation from your Wharton classmates and friends. Uncertainty persisted through lockdowns, mask wearing and temperature checks, COVID outbreaks, and tests. You learned to acclimate to an online environment and accept new ways of staying connected to each other as we all grew to understand the frightening proportions of the pandemic disruption. As the virus continued to spread across the globe, you adjusted to more setbacks, travel and immigration restrictions, health regulations, family separations, job and internship interruptions, as well as immeasurable losses of health and even loved ones. Despite all of this, the class of 2021 rose to these challenges with agility, creativity, and patience. To preserve your connections to classmates, you innovated and adapted. Clubs pivoted to virtual gatherings. Hundreds of you tuned in to storytellers to listen to classmates from widely diverse backgrounds relate inspiring tales, and in the process, get to know them better. You found ways to share meals on Zoom or outside in small groups, bundled up against the cold. And as we moved into the spring of this year, Follies and Dance Studio brought talent and humor into our lives and united us in spirit. But most important of all, you provided mutual support to your classmates through a dark period of dislocation and disappointment. Class of 2021, your determination and resilience in the face of unprecedented obstacles carried us through to the finish line today. The lasting impact of these 2 years at Wharton is impossible to predict, but I believe that you'll look back at the challenging disruptions and adversity that you faced as a time of great personal growth and strength. Now fortified with a Wharton MBA, you are well equipped as problem solvers, innovators, and leaders to face an emerging world that has changed irrevocably in many ways. My MBA program colleagues and I wish you our very best, and congratulations.
Thank you, Howie, and let me add my own heartfelt congratulations to our MBA students and offer my best wishes for their continued success. Turning back to our keynote conversations, let me introduce our second discussion, this time between Tory Burch, 1988 undergraduate alumna of the School of Arts and Sciences, and Executive Chairman and Chief Creative Officer of the Tory Burch brand, and Eric Sun, 2021 MBA graduate. Tory Burch launched the company that bears her name in 2004 from her kitchen table and saw it grow into a global luxury brand in less than 10 years. After earning an art history degree from Penn, Tory started in the fashion world as a designer's assistant, then climbed the ranks at Harper's Bazaar, Ralph Lauren, Vera Wang, and Loewe. She's received numerous awards acknowledging her many accomplishments, including her work on social responsibility, a key element of the Tory Burch Company since its inception. In 2009, she went on to establish the Tory Burch Foundation with a commitment to advancing women's empowerment and entrepreneurship. Eric Sun, a graduating Wharton School MBA, served as a Lauder Wharton Leadership Fellow and a novice Wildman hockey player. Eric is one of this year's inaugural Dr. Bruce I. Jacobs Scholars in Quantitative Finance and a recipient of the Ford Fellowship. Eric also earned an undergraduate degree at Wharton and was a consultant at BCG and worked in private equity at KKR and Double Dutch before returning for his MBA. Now, please join me in welcoming Tory and Eric.
Thank you for that kind introduction, Dean James. Hi, Tory. It's so great to have you with us here today. Fashion icon, successful entrepreneur, Penn grad, the list goes on and on. The class of 2021 is so fortunate to have you as a graduation speaker.
Thank you so much, Eric. I'm so happy to be here today, and I miss Penn. I miss all of it.
Starting and launching a fashion brand is no small feat. And in terms of some of the challenges you might face, what was one of the biggest challenges you faced in terms of scaling Tory Burch into the successful brand it is today? And how did you overcome it?
In my case, potential investors definitely did not see what I saw at first. Charisma helps and convincing people takes work. The spark for my business came when I noticed a void in my own closet for classic, beautifully designed collections that didn't cost a fortune. And it was hard to find anything between European luxury brands and the Gap. When I spoke to investors, you could tell they weren't used to having a woman mapping out such ambitious business plans. I heard a lot of no's. They just didn't get it, but I was so determined. And our solution was to fundraise with close to 150 friends and family that believed in us. And the truth is that a market is never saturated if you have a great idea. You should never be deterred if you have a unique approach, and you just have to be creative, analytical, and persistent, and to find people who believe in your vision.
That's fantastic. It's great to hear that you're able to start a business and grow it to the great scale that it is today. A lot of my classmates are also thinking of starting businesses. And I'm curious, what are some of the tips you have in terms of, to the budding Wharton entrepreneurs, how do you start a business?
My advice is take your time and be patient. Follow your own rhythm and figure out when the time is right for you. If it's now, great. If it's later, take your time. Studies even show that when you start a business later in your life, you're more likely to succeed. Whenever it is, you have to be willing to put in the work, and you have to have humility. You can't be arrogant, and you have to be willing to learn. If you do those things, your passion will definitely come.
I know that when you started Tory Burch, you had plans to start a foundation. Can you tell us what you've learned about the relationship between business and corporate responsibility?
I mean, I have learned so much. I started my company as a way to create positive change. And my plan was to build an inspiring, profitable business so that I could start a foundation. And I really had no interest in spending years thinking purely about profit, only to start giving back when I retired. So when I told investors 17 years ago that I wanted to start a business so that I could start a foundation, I was dismissed as naive. Some literally laughed at me for suggesting that I wanted to start a business with purpose as a core value. And one investor in particular, who is a friend still, thought it was ridiculous and said I should never mention business and purpose in the same sentence ever again. And obviously that made me more determined. So today we consider ourselves an activist brand and driven by a mission to empower women that's expressed through our products, our actions, and how we give back. And I'm so proud of the fact that 500,000 entrepreneurs access resources on our foundation website each year.
Many of us will be managers directly after graduation or a few years after graduation. And what guidance would you have for managers in terms of encouraging their team to embrace ambition?
As of today, all of you will leave here with an education from one of the finest schools in the world. You will have a degree that says to people that you are one of the best and that you were part of a select few that graduated from Wharton, the most prestigious business school in the world. That's a big deal. But I just want to ask you one favor. Please never act like you're the smartest person in the room. Please don't act like you have nothing left to learn. Please don't overlook people who don't have an elite degree. And my husband always says, who is a fellow Wharton graduate, you cannot build a company by yourself. Wherever you go, be the kind of leader that other people want to believe in.
A year from now, what do you believe is one thing that you hope to carry forward into the next year?
I think you all have learned, especially as Wharton graduates, that the term cash is king. And in a crisis, you have to plan for the worst. You know that there will be some sort of crisis every few years. But I was thinking about it, and if cash is king, I think the pandemic has reminded us that culture is queen. And what do I mean by culture? It means defining the values you believe in, how you live those values through your behavior and actions. For a company, it becomes an internal compass, especially during times of crisis. Your culture, the things you value and believe in the most, day in and day out, are what help you find your way. We led with honesty and kindness, passion and humility, integrity and compassion, and of course, we all need humor. That's what culture's queen means to me.
Thank you very much for sharing your insights with me in the class of 2021, Tory.
And I cannot wait to see what you all do next. Thank you.
Thank you, Tory, for offering such sage advice on entrepreneurship and for emphasizing the importance of purposeful business. And thank you, Eric, for leading a great conversation. Finally, I'd like to introduce our last Program Dean remarks today, this time from Diana Robertson, Vice Dean, Director of Wharton's Undergraduate Division, and Samuel A. Blank Professor in Legal Studies and Professor of Legal Studies and Business Ethics. Diana?
Thank you, Dean James. Warmest welcome, class of 2021. You did it. These past 14 months have been tumultuous at best, but you have developed insights about yourselves in the face of considerable challenge. Class of 2021, you have demonstrated the importance of community, near and far, and relying on one another for our community well-being. You are brilliant, resilient, agile, and compassionate. And yes, you are what I always say about Wharton undergraduates, you are amazing. You are the first class to graduate under the new curriculum and to have successfully completed the leadership journey. You launched the Wharton Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Group, and you have placed student well-being as a priority with your events and initiatives. You have also realized the importance of mentoring others and seeking support when needed. I am confident that you will take these skills with you into the post-pandemic world, where you'll have the opportunity to build networks and communities that are more equitable, healthy, and justice-oriented. I commend you on your ability to navigate this world with courage and grace, no matter where your future path may take you. I wish you all the best, class of 2021.
Thank you, Diana, for your wonderful advice to our undergraduate students today. I, too, am so excited for the bright futures that lie ahead of them. Our next keynote conversation will be between Mark Rowan, who received his undergraduate degree in 1984 and MBA degree in 1985 from Wharton, and Chief Executive Officer of Apollo Global Management, and Oyinkansola, or Sofela, 2021 Wharton undergrad. Mark is the co-founder and CEO of Apollo Global Management, one of the largest alternative asset firms with under $450 billion under management. The firm focuses on investments across credit-oriented capital markets, insurance, private equity, and real estate. Having started his career at Drexel Burnham Lambert, Mark met his Apollo co-founders, and together they went on to launch Apollo in 1990. He remains very active with Penn, serving on the Board of Trustees and is chair of Wharton's Board of Advisors. In addition to his finance expertise, Mark is an active philanthropist and an accomplished restaurateur. Sofela is a graduating senior who studied management and social impact and responsibility during her time at Wharton. She is an all-star community builder, storyteller, and social entrepreneur, and has made a meaningful impact on underrepresented minority communities at Penn throughout her work with the Black Wharton Undergraduate Association and the Wharton Equity, Diversity, Inclusion Group. She mentored peers in her role as a Wharton 101 TA and hopes to continue her work in promoting gender equity to equip women and girls worldwide with the resources they need to thrive. Now, please join me in welcoming Mark and Sola.
Thank you, Dean James, for that warm introduction. And thank you, Mark, for having this conversation with me today.
Absolute pleasure.
So I'm a firm believer that our upbringing, the people we interact with, and the experiences that we have growing up greatly impact our thought process and how we navigate through life in general. I'm curious if you have a fond memory or an important lesson you learned growing up that you still reflect on today.
For me, it's the same lesson I pass on to my children. And I say it simply, everyone's coming back. So some people define that as pay it forward without any expectation of something in return. But in our world, it's so interconnected. And especially in an online world, how do people know who you are? It's the people who vouch for you. It's the people you've helped along the way. It's the resumes you've reviewed, the people you've mentored, the calls you've made, the problems you've solved. This is what defines your reputation and the thing that you need to protect. I've never been disappointed by the payback.
I absolutely love that. Everyone's coming back, something that I would definitely be keeping in mind.
In the Wharton universe, everyone is coming back.
Specifically in the Wharton universe, everyone is coming back. So speaking of Wharton, you were both an undergrad and an MBA student. What is an important experience that you believe impacted your career?
I don't know that there's one experience. I'll say that first, my time here was absolutely amazing. I had the best of all worlds. I had a graduate education and an undergraduate social life, which is exactly how you want to experience the University of Pennsylvania in its fullest. But while you're here, you lack perspective. You can't see the studying around the clock, the finals crammed into 1 week, or really know what it is that you know until you get to your first job. When I got to my first job and sat down at the desk, it all just made sense. I was shocked at how much I knew, and I believe you will be shocked by how much you know.
So you spoke a little bit about your career, your first job outside of Wharton. I'm curious if there are any soft skills or technical skills that you believe have contributed to your successful career as a global investor.
I'll speak to me personally. I think first I'll say I think there are a lot of roads or a lot of paths to success, and a lot of people have different strengths that they bring to the table. For me, I was fortunate early to discover that what I loved, I was also good at. And I'm a problem solver, a puzzle solver. Mm-hmm. And I'm also capable of articulating a solution to a complex puzzle, whether it is an organizational design problem, a complex deal for Apollo, or a complex business situation. It really is what I like to do. And as I look back and think about what has made me successful, it's actually finding something that fits with what you're innately good at. That also is really important to the job you're doing.
So as we go off into the real world, a lot of us as graduating seniors are thinking about investing a portion of our income. What is the number one tip that you would give to us as we think about investing?
You know, I think it's just too soon. I mean, I will say that I do think that there's a progression that you're going to see. And I'll describe my progression. In my 20s, I was really just all about career. First, I was paying back my student debt, and then it was all about career. In my 30s, I finally had enough success, and now it was about building my family. And into my 40s, and at 50, it gets to be really fun because I work only because I want to work and because I love what I'm doing. And you have the chance to actually step back and contribute to others.
A year from now, what do you believe would be the most important thing that you would want to carry forward from the past year, and why?
No, it's not just what I would carry forward. Let's face it, a lot of us would like to just forget the past year. But the reality is that none of us will forget the past year. We'll remember the tragedy, the hardship, the people we've lost. But I think we're really going to remember that we experienced a decade of change in 1 year. And whether it's me as an individual or you as an individual or the institutions around us or the businesses, all of us discovered that we were highly adaptable. And in a Wharton context, think of how much business contributed to the year, whether it was the logistics that adapted overnight, the healthcare system that pivoted to COVID, the technological and broadband infrastructure that kept us all working from home, pharmaceutical and biotech that raced to find a cure. This is an amazing thing. And if I were just coming into the workforce, I would think that all this change is opportunity.
Thank you so much, Mark, for spending time with us and sharing your words of wisdom. It was really a pleasure to be able to talk to you today.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for interviewing me.
Thank you, Mark, for your great perspective on the financial landscape and ways our graduates can excel. And thank you, Sola, for posing such thoughtful questions for our speaker. Our last keynote conversation will be between Rosalind Brewer, 2001 graduate of Wharton's Advanced Management Program and Chief Executive Officer of Walgreens Boots Alliance, and Rebecca Agostino, 2021 Wharton MBA graduate. Rosalind, Roz Brewer, was appointed CEO of Walgreens Boots Alliance in March of this year. In this position, she joins a small but elite group of executives, becoming only one of 4 Black CEOs within the Fortune 500, and the only second ever Black female to hold such a position full-time. She began her career at Kimberly-Clark and went on to hold several executive positions at firms like Starbucks, Sam's Clubs, and Walmart. In addition to her Wharton education, Roz is also a graduate of Spelman College in Atlanta, Georgia. Rebecca Agostino is a graduating Wharton School MBA who served as a Student Life Fellow, Venture Fellow, and a Career Fellow with the Wharton Social Impact Initiative. Rebecca earned an undergraduate degree from Duke University and a Master of Teaching from Fordham University. Before Wharton, Rebecca was the founder and principal of Freedom Prep High School, a public charter school in Camden, New Jersey. She interned at the City of Philadelphia's Office of Workforce Development and Atento Capital, a venture fund focused on job creation. Now please join me in welcoming Roz and Rebecca.
Roz, thank you so much for being here today. You've had such an interesting career with so many stops along the way across different companies, and I imagine that opportunity knocks on your door quite often. How do you make decisions as you transition throughout your career?
I usually look at the opportunity to learn something new as I evaluate what's next for me. I really enjoy the learning process. I really enjoy starting something new, meeting a new company, taking on a big challenge, and that's really what I look at when these opportunities come my way.
And what are you hoping to learn in this next step?
And this one I truly was not looking for. I was so enjoying my time at Starbucks Coffee Company, and this one came along, and timing is everything. And so for this one in particular, what's happening in the space of vaccines and the administration of that, and then also, too, thinking about the health inequities that we've all seen and experienced during this time of the pandemic, this one struck me in a really special way. To get a chance to do something across this country, across various regions, to build healthier and happier lives. And that really struck me in a very special way. So I became very serious about it and was fortunate enough to join the company.
Thank you, Roz. As a leader, your voice and message needs to cascade through your whole organization. How do you do it?
You know, one of the things I've learned over the years is that when people think about their leader, they want to almost be able to predict how they think sometimes, right? And so I really try to focus on consistency of message and clarity of message, because the one thing I want more than anything else is I want people to feel very passionate about following my leadership. And I want them to be excited about it. So part of what I do is try my best to create the most exciting vision for my organization so they feel challenged, so that when we accomplish things together, that they are proud of their work and that we have a shared experience. And there's nothing like it when you have a shared experience with the people that work alongside you.
Thank you. I've heard you describe leadership as being the adult in the room. I love that. What does that mean to you?
Sometimes it's not about your title. And sometimes things happen and you have to step up. And it's being in that moment, the moment of a crisis or the moment of, a tough decision being made. And when I think about that, Rebecca, it's when you go into your inner self and say, I need to step up, right? And I think that comes from having experience of solving big problems and, wanting to be that change agent.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion are such an innate part of your business strategy, of your corporate culture, and of your values. What advice might you give to young leaders such as ourselves who also want to champion the work?
I think that it is some of the most important work that we can ever do. It is such a unique difference when you walk in a room and you feel included, heard, and seen. And I think that's important. So inclusion is where I've been focusing a lot of my time because it's a lot less about, hitting a number, and hitting a diversity target. It's about creating an environment where people can thrive.
A year from now, what do you hope is the one thing you take away from this very challenging but also hopeful year?
When I look back and look ahead, I really hope that we feel closer as a community. We had a really live, shared experience globally around the world. Almost the entire planet was, inflicted by this pandemic. And if that's not a significant shared experience that we can all reflect on and we made it through together, I have to say, I think if I were in college and all of this was happening around me, I'm not quite sure I could have pulled it off. But I am encouraged by that. That gives me so much hope and excitement about the future just to see graduates making it through this very tough year.
Roz, thank you for being so generous with your time today and sharing your insights and your wisdom with the Wharton class of 2021.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you.
Thank you, Roz, for your thoughts on career mobility and the importance of being a social change leader. And thank you, Rebecca, for hosting this engaging interview. Now, let's hear from Sam Lundquist, Vice Dean of Wharton External Affairs, who, on behalf of our 100,000 alumni worldwide, wants to formally welcome our graduates into Wharton's outstanding global network. Sam?
Thank you, Dean James. Congratulations to the classes of 2021. You are no longer Wharton students. You are now Wharton alumni. I'm delighted to be with you to celebrate this special occasion. All of us at Wharton applaud your remarkable accomplishments and look forward to when we can congratulate you in person. Please know how strongly we admire your tenacity to reach today. For each of you, today marks an important milestone in your lifelong relationship with the school. We want you to know there are whole teams ready to care for you going forward as valued members of the Wharton and Penn alumni family. It's the job of the school and the university to keep that connection with you, wherever you are. It's truly a labor of love. And our alumni relations colleagues look forward to working with you and supporting you throughout your lives and careers. Do you remember how proud you felt when you were first admitted to Wharton? That was a turning point in all of your lives, but it was just the beginning of your relationship with the school. You are now members of a community of more than 100,000 Wharton graduates spread across 154 countries around the world. As alumni, you will always carry the Wharton flag with you wherever you go. It is now part of your personal brand. Just as your success will lift and strengthen the school, please know that we will always be here for you. We will make sure that you have plenty of opportunities to grow in your career, sharpen your skills, and expand your perspective on business. I encourage you to take advantage of these opportunities to remain involved with the school and with your remarkable alumni network. I would like to once again applaud the classes of 2021. You are forever connected to the school, and we look forward to working with you for years to come. More than ever, welcome to the Wharton alumni family. And now I'd like to hand you over to some of Wharton's Global Club leaders who will tell you about the many benefits of joining a regional or affinity club.
Thanks for the warm introduction, Sam. And to the class of 2021, we are so excited to welcome you to the Wharton alumni community. Since my own graduation, one of the best ways I've found to keep my Wharton friends close and to meet new people in our incredible community is through the Wharton Global Clubs Network.
Wharton alumni clubs provide incredible opportunities to spark ideas, build or expand businesses, and connect with the brightest minds across generations and backgrounds. As of today, there are clubs in 25 U.S. cities and 41 countries worldwide. Additionally, we also have 13 affinity clubs to connect with alumni based on a shared industry, interest, or identity.
What makes Wharton alumni clubs unique is that they are completely volunteer-driven. They are founded by alumni, for alumni. I'm sure many of you are student club leaders and found your community at Wharton through these roles. We are so excited to offer you similar leadership opportunities within the alumni community.
Alumni clubs are also your gateway to so many benefits. Whether you are moving to a new city after graduation where you don't know anyone yet, or looking to build a career in a new industry, alumni clubs can help you build a support network through events and mentorship programs. We are proud to be your local connection to Wharton, wherever you are in the world.
Today is just our first opportunity to welcome you to the Wharton Global Clubs Network. This summer, be on the lookout for more ways to get involved through welcome events designed just for recent graduates like yourself.
Community has never been more valuable when so many of us have been disconnected by global crisis. It is our honor to welcome you to the alumni community wherever your career and life take you beyond graduation. So, on behalf of the global network of Wharton Alumni Club leaders, congratulations and welcome.
Thank you, Sam. And thanks to all our alumni around the globe who make Wharton's community the most engaging and without equal. As we close out today's dynamic, engaging One Wharton ceremony, it remains my hope that each and every graduate understands how much this community is proud of and excited for you. May your Wharton experience serve you well in your future endeavors, and may you always trust in the power of Wharton. and yourselves.
Congratulations on all your success, my brother.
Congratulations for your MBA.
We're so proud of you. Way to go.
Congratulations. Congratulations. We love you.
Now, go on and take on the world.
Can't wait to see you. Love you.
We want to congratulate you.
Happy graduation.
Wish you all the best for an exciting career ahead.
And congratulations, class of 2021.